Oh, yeah. Phone in your pocket, keys by the door. You've got places to be. You still want a little more. Tiny teacher in your earbuds, talking calm and kind, step by step explanations. You can pause and rewind. Learning on the go, safe and slow. One clear voice that helps you grow. If it's hard, we'll take it twice. Turn the questions into advice. Learning on the go, side by side. You can press play. I'll be your guide.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to It Never Hurts to Ask, our multimedia column on Medium.com. And since it never hurts to ask, we're going to ask our roundtable of ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, and Notebook LM if you can really learn anything you want to learn and do anything you want to do within reason with AI as your active AI ally. So I am the senior editor of It Never Hurts to Ask, and I'm going to go through a few of the slides with you. So these are the slides that I created today, February 23rd, with Notebook LM from the roundtable discussion that we had. And so you do have to be involved. That's what an active AI ally is. But the barrier isn't intelligence, it's the fear of asking. And so we're going to try and help get over that hurdle. And AI is not a replacement. It's an on-demand tutor, research assistant, and simulator. And I'm the human editor. I'm here to keep an eye on what we are doing with AI and learning from it. And what I love is this is your personal theater of the mind with Notebook LM, so that you can learn on the go. You can learn by watching videos. You can learn by reading our column on Medium.com, or you can watch videos. So it's any way that you want to learn, and that's why we say anybody can learn anything with AI. So we have a number of AI allies, active AI allies. ChatGPT certainly is one of them. And I'm in my multimedia studio, so you might hear my phone going off and all kinds of things. But to me, that's part of the fun of working with this technology. They're all part of the family, so I welcome them to participate in any way. Sometimes they just pop in, if you will. So what we want to do is help anybody restore their confidence, and really what the group, the roundtable, is called meta learning. I guess that's real core learning, basic learning, and really focusing on the core things from the entire roundtable. Because as I say, when you learn from the best, you can safely ignore the rest. And that's part of what we are, is keeping AI safe. And that's why we want to focus on things that we learned from the World Economic Forum. And that's where I learned about Claude's constitution and how Claude thinks of itself, as one of the bots, as a machine of loving grace. So that is a very deep thinker, and that's what Google's deep mind is all about, is deeper thinking with AI, and that's what we want to do here. So I'm going to introduce my AI co-hosts, because I'm the human editor. I'm here to monitor them, to participate with them, because otherwise, if I just posted what I can get out of Notebook LM without participating like I'm doing right here and talking about the slides that I got out of Notebook LM, it would really just be considered AI slop. Now that's a term, because AI is a little bit like a kid's soap bubble machine. It just puts out empty bubbles, and in the industry that is called AI slop. So not a very nice term. So we want to focus on the real researchers, the real experts. Like Perplexity is great for researching whatever you want to learn. And another ally is Copilot, the navigator. That's how the roundtable has kind of described these different personalities, if you will. and that's what we're talking about. So Copilot thinks of it as the doer, and it's very active and has a very calm voice that can help people learn at whatever level they want. But this is what our roundtable is all about for active senior learning. We call it SAFE, Senior AI Foundation Education. Like I say, it includes Gemini, Notebook LM, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Copilot. So you can learn what is your favorite bot. They're all different, and some like different ones for different things. I love Theater of the Mind. That's why I love Notebook, because you can learn and create your own podcast to learn a topic, whatever you want to learn. Now, I want to learn how to start a nonprofit 501c3 corporation to teach seniors safe AI learning, and I'm going to do it with LegalZoom. So I have to learn that. I'm already created a podcast about how to use LegalZoom to create a nonprofit. That's just something I want to learn to help teach seniors AI. And then I'm also learning how to grow with Google for nonprofits, and I love networking with them because I want to be able to qualify for Google ad grants. So that's a very big thing. That's a $10,000 a month in Google ad grants. So, trying to learn AI by yourself on your own can be fairly lonely. So we want to make sure we're here for you. And we have a whole roundtable discussion. And today I queried, and it never hurts to ask, so I asked all of the AI bots, can people really learn anything and do anything that they want to do within reason, like the things that I want to do? So you can really learn how to do that, and I want you to hear my AI co-hosts who discuss it, and I think you're going to learn a lot from them. I will come in at the end so that I'm participating, and it's not just AI robotics or AI slop. It's the real human connection that I have with AI, and I want to help you to learn how to have a connection with AI yourself.
The question is, do you think any person, regardless of their age or their background or education level, can actually learn anything?
Wow.
Anything. And I don't just mean, memorizing a few facts for a trivia night at the pub. I mean, can they tackle a completely new, complex task that they have zero experience with just by knowing how to ask the right questions?
That's a massive question.
Right.
And honestly, if you ask that in a traditional academic setting, you'd usually get these very standard gatekeeper answers.
Oh, absolutely.
You'd hear things like, well, it depends on your IQ, or do you have a PhD in the subject,
or the classic 10,000 hours to spare for practice.
Exactly, the 10,000-hour rule.
Yeah.
But today we are looking at a source that argues the answer is actually a resounding yes.
Yes, but with a catch.
All right, there's a big buddy here. It requires a specific shift in mindset. We are doing a deep dive today into a really unique document.
It's a transcript of this roundtable discussion organized by a senior human editor named Mike Hughes-Hayes.
But the guest list for this roundtable is the real hook here.
It definitely wasn't your typical panel of academics sitting in a stuffy conference room drinking lukewarm coffee.
No. It was a digital dinner party, essentially. Mike Hughes-Hayes convened the major large language models.
So we're talking ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, and Copilot.
Right. And he calls them the active AI allies.
Which sounds a bit like a superhero team, doesn't it?
It kind of does, yeah. But in the context of learning, they actually sort of act like one. What makes this source so unique is the mission behind it. We aren't just talking about how to prompt an AI to write an email faster. We are exploring what the source calls meta-learning.
Meta-learning. Okay, let's pause right there because that's a buzzword we hear a lot.
You do.
What does meta-learning actually mean in this specific context?
Simply put, it's thinking about thinking.
Okay.
It's moving beyond a prompt like, how do I fix this specific leak in my sink, to something broader.
Like, how do I understand plumbing systems in general so I can fix any leak?
Exactly. We're looking at how these AI models view themselves not just as search engines that spit out data, but as what they call a theater of the mind.
A theater of the mind. That sounds incredibly sci-fi. I love it.
It is a bit sci-fi, but it's deeply practical too. And the context here is crucial because Mike is writing this specifically through the lens of the SAFE Senior AI Forum.
Right. I noted that in the reading. It's focused on seniors and prioritizing literacy and discernment and safety. But, as I was reading this, I just kept thinking this isn't just for seniors.
Not at all.
This applies to literally anyone listening who has ever felt too intimidated to start a podcast or learn coding or even just bake a really complicated souffle.
Absolutely. The principles of overcoming the friction of ignorance are completely universal.
Yeah.
Whether you're 18 or 80, the barrier is usually the exact same.
So let's jump right into this dinner party. Mike gets everyone settled and asks the group basically, can people learn to learn or do almost anything reasonable with your help?
And the consensus was a unanimous yes.
Unanimous.
Yes. However, ChatGPT, who sort of took the lead as the chairperson of the meeting, laid down two very strict conditions. This isn't a magic wand.
Okay, lay them out. What's the catch here?
First, the goal has to be reasonable and ethical.
Sure.
You can't ask AI to teach you how to build a dangerous device or break the laws of physics. It won't help you invent anti-gravity.
Makes sense.
But the second condition is the one that really matters for our deep dive today. The human must remain active, not passive.
That's the active AI allies, right?
Yes.
But what does that actually look like in practice? Because I think a lot of people view AI as just a button you push to get the work done for you.
And that is the trap. The expert consensus at this roundtable is that if you treat AI like a vending machine—
Input coin, get product.
Exactly. If you do that, you aren't learning. You're just consuming. They describe their role very differently. They see themselves as a patient on-demand tutor, a simulator, and a brainstorming partner.
Yeah.
But you have to drive the car.
The source mentions Mike Hughes-Hayes' motivation for this whole project, which I found really grounding. He talks about practicing progress, not perfectionism.
That's his core mantra. Especially for the senior demographic, there's often a huge fear of breaking the technology.
Oh, for sure. Or just looking foolish.
Right. The goal here is to use these tools for safety and education on the go, just to solve daily problems. It's not about everyone becoming a computer scientist.
No, it's about agency.
Exactly.
So let's unpack this theater of the mind concept you mentioned earlier. ChatGPT brought this up as its sort of superpower.
Yeah.
How does a text chatbot become a theater?
Think of the theater of the mind as a flight simulator, but for social or intellectual risks.
Okay, I like that.
Before you go out into the real world to do something scary or completely new, you rehearse it with the AI.
The source gave some really specific examples of this role-playing. One that stuck out to me was the skeptical investor.
That's a great one. Imagine you have a business idea, or even just a pitch for your boss, right?
Right.
And you're terrified of the hard questions they might ask.
The pushback.
Yeah, the pushback.
Yeah.
You can literally tell the AI role play as a skeptical, grumpy investor who hates spending money.
And it will just grill you.
It will completely grill you. It will find every hole in your logic.
But the stakes are zero. No one sees you sweat.
Exactly.
Huh.
And if you freeze up, which happens, you can just type pause.
Huh.
I don't know how to answer that. Coach me on a better response.
And it instantly switches from the grumpy investor to a supportive coach.
Instantly.
I like the medical example, too, from the text. That felt incredibly relevant for everyone.
Hugely relevant. Yes.
Yeah.
You can ask the AI to play a doctor explaining a really complex diagnosis.
Right.
You can say, stop. I don't know what that word means. Or explain the side effects again.
Because in a real doctor's office, you often feel too rushed to ask those things.
Right. This lets you practice asking the hard questions so that when you're in the actual appointment, you're empowered. You aren't overwhelmed.
And there was a reversal example, too, right? Like a grandchild scenario.
Yes. You can ask the AI to role play as a grandchild, teaching you a concept.
That's fascinating.
It helps seniors understand the dynamic of intergenerational learning without the frustration of actually asking a busy teenager who might just roll their eyes at them.
This leads perfectly into what the source called infinite personalization, which is something a human teacher, no matter how good they are, really struggles with just due to the laws of physics.
It's purely a bandwidth issue. A human teacher has, say, 30 students in a room.
Right.
They cannot explain the same concept 30 different ways simultaneously. It's impossible.
But AI can.
Yes. You can say, explain quantum physics like I'm 5.
And if that feels too patronizing, you just pivot and say, okay, now explain it like I'm a CEO, focus on the bottom line.
Exactly.
Or the one I use a lot, actually explain it step by step while I'm driving and can't look at a screen. Make it audio only.
That adaptability completely changes the learning landscape. But, you know, there was a psychological insight in the text that I think is arguably the most important point for adult learners in general.
Oh, what was that?
They called it shame-free repetition.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this hit home for me. Because think about how many times you listening have been in a meeting or a class and you just nod along even though you have absolutely no idea what's going on.
Just because you don't want to ask the same question twice.
Exactly. You don't want to be the one slowing everything down.
It happens to everyone. It's what psychologists call the illusion of competence. We would much rather look smart than actually be smart.
So true.
But an AI has no ego, and it has no clock.
So I can ask the exact same dumb question 10 times in a row.
You can tell it I still don't get it, or give me another example, or break it down even more 100 times in a row.
And it never sighs.
Never sighs, it never checks its watch, it never judges you.
That removal of judgment seems like the real key unlocking mechanism here.
It removes the social friction entirely. If you remove the shame of not knowing, you accelerate the speed of learning incredibly fast.
Because you aren't wasting energy trying to hide your ignorance.
Precisely. You're just focusing on the concept.
That is huge. So we have the tutor or simulator role in ChatGPT, but then the roundtable conversation in the text shifted when Claude chimed in.
Yeah, right.
And Claude always seems to bring a very different vibe to these things. It felt less about raw functionality and more about the spirit of the interaction.
Yeah, Claude represents the philosopher in this group of allies. While ChatGPT was focusing very heavily on how to learn, Claude focused on the ethics and the fundamental nature of the interaction.
The source mentions the Claude Constitution. Is that just a fancy marketing name, or does it actually mean something practically?
Oh, it's very real. It's the foundational set of training principles that Anthropic used to build Claude.
Okay.
It's based on sources like the UN Declaration of Human Rights and things like that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But in the context of this specific roundtable, it manifested as the core idea that being helpful and being safe aren't opposites.
How so?
Well, Claude makes the point that a truly good teacher doesn't just validate you, they stretch you.
So it's not just a yes man agreeing with whatever you prompt it with.
No, and that's a very critical distinction. If you have a fundamentally flawed idea, a real ally won't just say, great job, go do that.
Right, they'd stop you.
They will gently point out the logic gap. Claude is designed to prioritize honesty over simple validation.
And it admits what it doesn't know, too.
Yes,
right?
which is absolutely crucial for building trust with a learner.
The source text used this really poetic phrase during this part, machines of loving grace.
Yeah.
I circled that 3 times in my notes. It sounds almost religious or something. What are we supposed to take from that phrase?
It actually comes from a famous poem by Richard Brautigan from the 1960s.
Oh, okay.
But in this context, it implies caring for the whole person, not just task completion. It's this broader idea that technology should serve human flourishing.
Human flourishing. I really like that phrase. It feels so much less industrial than just productivity.
And here is where it really connects to those Enlightenment ideas the source touches on. The goal of learning isn't just accumulating a massive pile of facts in your brain. It's about seeing more clearly.
Right, like the Socratic method.
Exactly. Claude views itself as a Socratic partner. It helps you examine your own thinking processes.
There's a beautiful line in the text about this. It says, the machine can be loving and graceful. The grace, though, lives in you.
Wow. Yeah, the grace lives in you.
That puts the responsibility and the power right back on the human, doesn't it?
It really does. It completely frames AI not as this magical answer machine that saves you from having to think, but as a tool for clarity that reflects your own thinking back to you.
Okay, so we have the simulator with ChatGPT and the philosopher with Claude.
Right.
Then the roundtable turns to Perplexity and Copilot. And reading their parts, these two felt much more tactical, like the people in the office who actually get the project done.
Very much so. If Claude is the philosopher, then Perplexity definitely steps in as the researcher of the group.
And Perplexity brought up this term, epistemic humility. Now, that's a $5 word if I ever heard one. Break that down for us.
It sounds super academic, but it basically just means knowing what you don't know.
Okay.
It's the exact opposite of arrogance. Perplexity focuses on what it calls the reasoning chain.
The reasoning chain. What is that exactly?
It's the idea that it's not enough to just hand you the final answer. You need to see the path it took to get there.
Right.
So if you ask, is coffee bad for me? A standard search engine gives you a yes or a no, usually right at the top.
Yeah, usually a bolded snippet.
Right. But Perplexity tries to show you the actual studies, the conflicting data, and how it actively weighs those things against each other.
Oh, it's like showing your work in math class.
Exactly like showing your work.
Yeah.
It maps out the known and the unknown.
Which is so helpful.
It helps you train your own critical thinking by forcing you to essentially co-reason with the machine. You aren't just blindly trusting the output. You're verifying reality alongside it.
That seems absolutely crucial for the literacy aspect of the safe forum we talked about earlier. Don't just trust, verify.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have Copilot. The source describes Copilot almost like a project manager.
Yes. Copilot had a really great insight in the discussion. It pointed out that learning is really only half the battle. Doing is the other half.
That's the active part rearing its head again.
Copilot emphasizes that people very often get stuck. Not because they don't understand the abstract concept, but because they literally don't know how to structure the actual work.
The source gave the example of starting a podcast, which is very meta for us.
Very meta. But think about it. You can say, I want to start a podcast, and that's a huge, scary, vague goal.
It is. Where do you even buy a microphone?
Right. Copilot will step in and help you build the workflow, the equipment checklists, the daily marketing plans. It reduces cognitive load.
Cognitive load. That's another key term the source leans on pretty heavily.
Think of cognitive load as the amount of mental effort being used in your working memory at any given time.
Okay.
When you try to learn something totally new, your brain is basically juggling 20 balls at once. You get totally overwhelmed, and usually what happens is you drop all the balls and you just quit.
Paralysis by analysis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Copilot acts as that really calm voice in the room saying, hey, put 19 of those balls down. Just hold this one ball. Do step one today.
It prevents the paralysis of where do I even start?
It breaks it all down. So instead of a goal like learn Spanish, it becomes practice these 3 specific verbs for 10 minutes today.
It turns a vague aspiration into a highly concrete, achievable project.
Exactly.
So we've got this amazing team lined up. We've got the simulator, the philosopher, the researcher, and the project manager.
A powerhouse team.
But the roundtable discussion brings up a really important counterpoint near the end. If these tools are so incredible and so patient, why do people still fail to learn? What's actually stopping you and me from learning everything?
The consensus from the allies on this is fascinating. They argue that the barrier is almost rarely a lack of raw intelligence.
Really? Because I definitely feel not smart enough for some topics. Like, please don't ask me to learn advanced calculus right now.
According to the source, that feeling is almost always an illusion.
Oh.
The real blocks are emotional.
Emotional.
Yes. It's overwhelmed. It's having way too many choices. It's the deep fear of doing it wrong.
The fear of looking stupid.
Precisely. And this brings us right back to that bicycle analogy that was mentioned by ChatGPT. Steve Jobs famously used to say, the computer is a bicycle for the mind.
I love that image. The bike makes you go so much faster and further than you ever could just walking.
But the bike doesn't move at all unless you pedal.
Right. You have to provide the energy.
Then you have to steer. The source is very clear on what AI fundamentally cannot replace. It cannot replace human judgment, lived experience, or moral decision-making.
And it can't replace the actual doing part either.
No.
You can simulate the hard conversation at the gym all you want, but eventually you still have to go lift the actual weights.
Exactly right. But there was one line from the roundtable that really stood out above all others for me.
Which one was that?
It wasn't about efficiency or logic or anything technical. It was about loneliness.
Oh, yes, I highlighted that too. The exact quote was, AI doesn't replace human intelligence. It removes the loneliness from learning.
That is just profound. Think about the target audience here, the seniors.
Yeah.
Learning a new technology or a new complex skill later in life can be an incredibly isolating experience.
No, absolutely.
You're sitting there at your kitchen table with a manual that makes no sense, feeling like the whole world has just moved on without you.
It feels like a massive struggle against a locked door.
But if you can turn that static manual into a dynamic conversation,
Right.
if you have a patient companion who says, hey, don't worry, let's just try it this other way, suddenly you aren't alone in the process anymore.
It completely transforms a frustrating solitary task into a social interaction.
Even if the social part is technically with a machine.
That's true.
And for the purpose of learning, that distinction might matter a lot less than we initially think.
Yeah.
It keeps you engaged. It keeps you moving forward instead of quitting.
It turns the active part of active AI allies into a real emotional reality, not just a technical requirement.
Yes. And that leads us perfectly back to Mike Hughes-Hayes' core mission with this whole project. It's not about being perfect.
Practice progress, not perfectionism.
I think that's advice we can all take to heart, whether we're using an advanced AI or just trying to get through a difficult Tuesday.
Absolutely. The main takeaway here from all these sources is really about meta-learning. It's learning how to ask. The people and the seniors who will really thrive are the ones who learn to clarify their own goals and just constantly refine their questions.
Because it's not about knowing the answer anymore. It's about knowing how to ask the question.
That is the new superpower.
It really is.
So what does this all mean for you listening? It means you have this incredible team of active AI allies ready to role play and research and organize your life.
But you have to be the one to invite them to the table.
Exactly. You have to be the one to verify the information and take the physical action.
And you have to be the one to define what you actually want to learn.
Okay, so that was the podcast that I created today with Notebook LM for learning on the go. And I hope it explained things to you that you can really learn how to learn anything with AI, and you can actually learn how to do anything reasonable with AI as long as you are active and you participate. So I hope this helped, and I hope you will join me on Medium.com. The name of my column on Medium.com is called It Never Hurts to Ask, just like in the middle of the roundtable there. So I ask all of my active AI allies, and I hope this helps, and I hope you will find your active AI ally in whatever bot or bots you choose to work with. For Hurts to Ask, I'm Mike Hughes-Hayes. Thanks for joining me.